Hello my friends. Today I'm going to get rid of that ugly rear fender and taillight assembly on my 2019 Harley-Davidson FXDR 114 motorcycle and replace it with an LED taillight from Chrome Glow. I will also be installing a license plate relocation kit by Renzoma. So let's get started. So now I'm out here in the garage and I'm ready to install this rear LED kit from Chrome Glow, and it's telling me the first thing you want to do is you want to test to make sure that the LED lights work. All you need is a 9-volt battery to do that, and I'll show you real quick. I've already tested mine, but you definitely want to test this before you install it, because if you install it and find out that some of the LEDs are bad, you're probably not going to be very happy. So it's a quick test. 9-volt battery, black is negative. Alright, mine tested good, so I'm going to go ahead, and the next step is to remove this rear fender. And it's held in by 4 Torx screws, so let's go ahead and get started. After the mud flap is removed, reinstall the 2 T25 Torx screws into the swing arm. Alright, so we got the mud flap removed, and we got the 2 T25 Torx screws reinstalled on the swing arm. So now I'm going to focus my attention on removing what they refer to as the tow bar, and then also the belt cover. So let's get started. Once you have the last bolt removed from the tow bar, tilt it away from the bike and disconnect the electrical connector. Alright, so we got that ugly tow bar removed plus the belt cover. Now I'm going to focus on getting things prepped for my Renzoma license plate relocation bracket. And it's going to bolt right here, but before I can do that, I need to remove this plastic holder for this electrical connector. It's held in by 2 5/32 inch bolts, so you're going to need an Allen key that's 5/32 inch to remove it. And these bolts are going to be pretty difficult to remove. You really can't see too much, but I'm going to put this mirror down here, and hopefully you can see one of the bolts in the mirror. It's right there. So that's going to be one bolt that I need to get out. But the problem is my Allen key is too long right here, so I need to grind this down in order for it to fit. So let's go over to the grinding wheel, get this thing ground down, and see if I can get these bolts removed. So I don't know how well that shot turned out. I was trying to get the camera to focus down in here between the swing arm and this belt gear right here. And so you guys can see me removing this 5/32 bolt. This is one of two that hold in this plastic cover for this electrical connector. And boy, it's really difficult. As you guys saw, I had to grind this tool down in order for it to fit in between the swing arm and the gear. There just really isn't a whole lot of room to move, but once you get this bolt cracked loose, you can loosen the rest of it with your fingers, or at least I could, so that's what I did. So hopefully I have similar luck with this top bolt, so let's give it a shot. So I've got the Allen key installed on that last bolt I have to remove. Not going to be a lot of room in order to get this bolt out, so I don't know how this is going to play out, but let's see if I get lucky. So I've got to turn it that way. So now that I've got it loose, I'm actually just using my fingers to get the rest of the bolt out. When I couldn't loosen the bolt anymore with my fingers, I would use needle nose pliers between the swing arm and plastic holder to get it loosened again. Basically, I would alternate between my fingers and the use of needle nose pliers until the bolt and plastic holder were completely removed. This part is a bit tedious, but take your time and it will eventually come out. So I got both bolts out for this plastic electrical connector holder. Only problem is the wiring harness is zip tied to it. So I've got to cut this zip tie back here, and then I can remove this holder. Next, I'm going to remove the seats. The rear one here just pops up. And then I have two 7/16" bolts that I got to remove. One of the reasons why I went with the Rizoma license plate relocation kit is because it comes with its own harness, meaning I don't have to cut into the factory harness that's on the bike. I really like that aspect. The only problem is they don't tell you that you have to remove the rear wheel in order to install this harness properly. Now, I don't have the ability or the tools to remove the rear wheel. I don't have a jack. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the connector that's on the end of the tow bar here, this one right here, this is the factory connector that plugs into the factory harness that goes into the bike. Now I'm going to modify it so it goes onto the license plate end, which I'll show you right now. So here's the connector that I cut off the tow bar. Right here's the license plate end from the Rizoma factory harness, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to plug it in like it's supposed to. So you got black to black here. And then you have the blue wire. It's right next to this red nipple. This is the other one that you want. So I've already traced all this out. So these are the wires you want when you connect it to the license plate relocation kit. And that way it plugs right into the factory harness without damaging anything. And then I'll mount everything nice and tight, like so, inside here. And I'll go ahead and test it now to make sure everything still works like it's supposed to. I got everything connected, so let's double check, make sure everything works. So it should light up. Cool, so it's lighting up. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to button everything up, get it nice and tight against the swing arm, and then we'll focus on getting the chrome glow rear tail light installed. So I got the wiring harness all tied up how I want it to, and I'm going to position it underneath the swing arm like so, and that cable holder will stick right around this area. As you can see, you can't see anything. So the next thing, I just need to clean the surface with this isopropyl alcohol pad so I get a good adhesion. We'll give that a minute to dry, and then I'll peel this off and stick it on there. Just finished up the Rizoma rear license plate relocation kit. Got the wiring all hidden behind the swing arm. Can't even see it. So everything came out well there. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to focus on installing the chrome glow rear tail light assembly. So let's get started on that. As you guys can see, I actually removed the 5 T25 Torx bolts that hold this rear fender liner in. You don't have to do this. I went ahead and did it because I wanted to see, what was under here and how to properly route this to see if everything would fit nice. And I'm kind of glad that I removed it, because when I hold the rear taillight assembly up, it actually hits on this corner where the wire pops out. So I'll probably have to do some trimming there. Now let me show you where we're going to tap into on the factory harness. Once you have your rear seat removed, these are the 3 harnesses we have to tap into to make sure that the chrome glow rear tail light works. So you've got your black one here. This is the tail light harness, and it's got your black wire that you need to tap into. Then you have your blue with the red tracer, and then you have your solid blue wire on this one. And if you look at the left turn signal harness, this is the gray one. This is going to be your left turn signal harness. You've got the wires that you need to cut into or tap into for this one, which is the blue with purple tracer. And then you have the right turn signal harness, which has the blue with brown tracer. So I've already moved the sheathing back so I could see the colors of the wires. So now I'm going to tap into them. Here I'm using the supplied crimp-on connectors for the taillight harness. Be careful not to insert the wire too far into the connector, otherwise you may crimp the sheathing to the wire instead of the bare wire, resulting in a poor connection. My kit came with these vampire taps that splice into the factory harness. All you do is position the tap around the wire, close the clamshell, and then carefully use a pair of pliers to lock it into place. Once I have all the vampire taps installed, I can now plug in the wires from the chrome glow tail light into the factory harness. So I got all the wires connected and tapped in, so let's see if this rear light works now. Alright, everything looks good, so now I'm going to mount this light in its permanent location. The wire that sticks out at the end of the taillight does prevent the assembly from sitting flush against the fender liner, so I would recommend trimming it if you can. I couldn't trim mine at this time because the bit for my Dremel tool disappeared. Tools disappearing happen more than I like in my garage. And here's the finished product. Overall, the install wasn't too bad, and it took me a few hours to complete. My biggest issue was with understanding the instructions and where to tap into the factory harness. The pictures that were included didn't make this really clear, so I hope this video does. Besides that, I'm really happy with how it turned out, and I think the bike looks much better. If you have any questions with your installation, leave a question down below and I'll try and help. So long and happy wrenching!